Well, hello friends, and welcome back to my channel. I'm Renee, and it's Pantry Chit Chat time. We haven't had a chit chat in a while. I hope everybody's doing good. Oh my gosh, my canning season is over. I got my pantry all done. I showed you that on a video. Oh my goodness, now I can take a breath. All stocked, all ready for the winter, and man, is that a load off my chest. Ooh, that's like 1,000 pounds. Food in your cupboards, I'm telling you, is like money in the bank. It's just a wonderful, secure feeling. So now that everything's done in my canning pantry, I still can. I do can all year round. You know, like in the wintertime when I find meats on sale, or I make chilies or soups and stuff like that, and I'll can it up. So, but my big canning season from my garden harvest and that's done. So now I've been tearing out my gardens. This weekend I did a lot. My husband, he was working on the greenhouse and I was ripping out the gardens. I'm getting ready to amend them and get them ready for spring, you know, and I put all my compost on them and some fertilizer on them, which I can't really get any fertilizer this year. I don't want to buy a big 50-pound bag of fertilizer. I don't need that much. But I do use all my chicken poo and rabbit poo and all my, you know, my compost on them. And put some lime on them. They'll be beautiful for spring. So I'm working on that. I got one garden left to tear out, and then I can go through and amend them all. So I got a big pile in my big garden, my in-ground garden, where I'm burning all the, you know, all the scraps and stuff. No, I don't want to put that in my compost because of blight. I did, some of my tomatoes have blight, and I had a lot of, which every year I get a lot of little squash bugs. This year, though, I didn't have any squash vine borers, but I sprayed my BT early on in the season. And I kept right up with that. So that stuff was wonderful. The squash bugs, they don't really kill your plant. I mean, if you let it go, eventually they're going to. But I just spray them with a little Dawn dish soap and water. And, you know, they die. It smothers them. Within seconds, they're dead. But they tend to hide. That's why I clean my gardens out. Because they tend to hide under the, you know, the dead plants. And they'll hide there all winter. They'll hide under there and hibernate or whatever you want to call it. And they'll be back again next year. So I burn everything. And that way, if anything is diseased. Plus, I planted beans out in my front trellises. And I think they got a virus because they died early on. Where my tomatoes were planted with them and my peppers were planted there with them. They all grow together just fine. They're good companion plants. So I think they got a virus. So when I pulled everything out of there, that's another reason why I burned it. And those were some bean plants I bought, and I don't remember, or bean seeds that I purchased, and I'm not remembering where I purchased them from. But I had them in a plastic package, but it didn't have the name of the company. So you know, it was leftover. So I just threw them out. I don't want to use them again. I don't want to spread any viruses in my garden. So I'm burning everything, all the scraps and the leftovers and the dead plants. And I got tomatoes everywhere. I had given my neighbor all the rest of my tomatoes, which would have been about 1.5 bushels. I've got plenty of tomatoes. I am all done, and I just give them away. You know, I've been giving them out the back door. But she wasn't able to come get them before our frost hit. Now, we're up here in Michigan, and we already had our frost. We already had 2 or 3 of them. So once that frost hits, those tomatoes, they're just no good. They taste terrible, you know. So I thought, oh my dear, I wish I should have picked them for her, because I gave them to her and she said, oh, I'll be there, you know, tomorrow or yada, whatever it was, to get them. And she never came. And I thought, that's kind of odd, Well, I found out her husband had had a heart attack. And I thought, oh dear, if I would have known that, I would have picked those tomatoes for her and, even put them in my storage room here until she could get to them where it was cool out in my vestibule or my entryway. So they're done. They're all over out there. I've got tomatoes everywhere. So I got to rake them all out of my gardens and get everything finished cleaning up. We're buttoning up. My husband got the greenhouse is all we got to do is put the plastic on it and it's done for winter. So that's a good thing. My market stand, that's done. There's nothing in it. We got to take the tent down and move the refrigerator in here for the winter and put the tables up because I'm not doing that anymore. Now, last year, I think I went into October with my market stand, but this year I didn't. I've had so much other stuff going on and so busy getting my pantry and getting us secure for winter that I just stopped that about 2 weeks ago. I haven't done anything with that. And I might have some soda pop left in the fridge, but it did pretty good this year. Now next year, it's going to be totally different. This year was really hard on me. I've had a rough summer with losing my mother in May. And during the early spring when I would have been in my greenhouse and, working and planning out all my summer, I was taking care of my mom and everything went on hold. And of course, everything's going to go on hold. Your family comes first. I'm not complaining. I love my mother and I miss her dearly. But next year, I've got the winter to just take a breath and gather my bearings and, plan my action for summer again. So the greenhouse will be all ready in the spring. I would have loved to have been able to use it this winter, utilize it and grow some winter crops, but there's no way. I don't have the proper heating for it or anything yet. So maybe next year, that's all right. Another year's fine. We are set this year for food. I grew a ton of food for us. And I'm really pleased. Our gardens were phenomenal. But I did plant way too much. I was giving stuff away, which is fine. There's always people that can use it. But next year, I probably won't grow as much. In fact, I'm not even going to have the in-ground garden. I know I had that for 2 years now, and I don't like it. I like my raised beds. So on the other side of the greenhouse, we're going to build, and we're going to get rid of the in-ground garden. I'm just going to plant that back up with grass. It'll grow like crazy because it's so fertilized and that ground is so so sweet and fertile. But our neighbor, we let them put raised beds on our property because, how do I explain this? They basically live on a postage stamp, right kitty corner from us, and our property is probably 2 feet away from their house. So they have no side yard. And their backyard is mostly driveway. So they really have no yard. They got a little patch in their front. It's like a little city house, So we let them put, and I did show you that on a video, we let them put 2 nice size raised beds on our property so that they could have a garden. Well, we got to talking and we get along so well with them. It worked out beautiful. They took care of it. They, mowed all around that area. And just bless their hearts. They're wonderful people. They're a young couple that are just starting out and they're just sweet as can be. So they were talking to us and they asked if they could possibly put another one, so that they could do a little more. And I said, you know what? I got a better idea because I'm getting rid of the in-ground garden. I said, and the greenhouse is over on the new section, all filled in. That's beautiful over there. I said, we could do raised beds through the other side of the greenhouse. There's a lot of land over there to do raised beds. And they thought that was a great idea. Well, we get along so well, we can do that. They'll have one long raised bed for them, And then I'll have a couple long raised beds that will take place of my garden. So that's going to work well. And we're going to work on building that this month. We're going to put that in there. And my husband works at Ron Brown and Son, so he'll be able to deliver us dirt, and we can get it there. Now, I don't know if we'll get a discount because he's an employee or not. It doesn't matter. We still got to have it. And we got use of a tractor, so we can go down to the village and get some extra compost, because we're going to have some long raised beds. I mean, they're going to probably be, they're about 4 feet wide, and we're going to have them about 40 feet long, the full length of that on the other side of the greenhouse. And I think we're going to have 2 of them and then another smaller one, so that the neighbors can grow their food too. And that'll be good. So we're going to go down to the village and get their compost to help fill in all those beds. So we're excited about that. The rabbits and the chickens are doing good. Of course, we got to button them up for winter now. We got to put the tarps around their cages. We're going to leave the bunny rabbits right in that cage that's perfect for them. I mean, I would use that every year, or use a little cage like that each year for my baby chickens, but we built that one this year because the critters kept getting our chicks. Well, when we put the rabbits in there, it's a perfect rabbit cage. I'm telling you, they got lots of room in there. So we're going to leave them in there, and then probably in the spring we'll separate them out and get different cages, so we can put, you know, a male and a female together in 2 separate cages. I don't know how they'll do in the wintertime. I know so far they've been doing really good in there, and they haven't been fighting or anything, but there's a lot of room in there for them to run around, you know. So, and in the spring, I mean, we've got to wait till spring, and I hope they coincide quite well through the winter as they get bigger. But in the spring, we'll definitely separate them out and build different coop or cages for them. The chickens, they're doing good. We've got the long chicken coop now because my husband added to it. So we're still going to cut it down in half. We're going to block off half of it for the winter and just give them their small run. And tarp them up and get them buttoned in for the winter. They got the new chicken coop now, so they got lots of room in there as well. Because I remember last year, they would hide in that little coop part, and they wouldn't come out when it would get real cold. And it got bitter cold quite a few times last year up here. So they just kind of hang out in that little spot, or that little cage. My little baby chickens, not my baby chickens, they're a little bigger now, but they're starting to lay eggs, and I'm getting these little itty bitty eggs every now and then. I mean, it's just itty bitty. Sometimes you crack it open and it's just a little tiny yolk, and other times there's not even a yolk in it. It's just whites. But I always know that one of them is starting to lay when I see that. I've lost a couple of my older chickens, but of course they're getting old. They're what, 5 years old now? So the 12 that I got last spring, well, more than replaced what I've lost. So they'll be all buttoned up and we'll be ready for winter. The gardens will be amended for spring. And it looks like we'll have a fairly easy winter. We got offered, well, because both of us are drivers, semi-drivers, my neighbor who works at the recycling plant up here on the edge of town, she offered us a job for winter. And now it's not full-time, but it's driving semi, the both of us, and a couple days a week, and then a couple times a month we'll be going, or once or twice a month, maybe it's once a month, we'll be going down to South Carolina with a load of cotton. So that'll be kind of nice, you know. We'll go up to Marquette, and then we might go down to South Carolina, and, you know, between here and Traverse, just kind of local otherwise. So that'll give us probably enough to, you know, cover our bills and stuff, and we still don't have to worry about groceries. So we're good. We are good. Thank you, Jesus. You know, we've got something that come to us that, you know, is gonna take care of our bills for the winter. So we're happy about that. And I'll be driving again. I told my husband I haven't driven in 4 years, and you know, I might be a little rusty, but I'll get back into the swing of it just for the winter. It'll be fun for winters, and we'll probably do it each winter. My CDL is still good. My medical card is still good. In fact, I think my medical card might expire in December. I might have to do a new medical card. So, but I'll take you on a few of those driving jobs with us, especially if we go down south. That'd be kind of fun to go down to South Carolina. I remember one year when we were in South Carolina, I think it was in the spring. I don't remember what year it was or what time of year it was, but I found these enormous, and I mean football-sized pine cones. I couldn't believe it. They were laying under this tree. We were parked in a dock, and right next to the dock there were these pine trees, and there were these huge, I've never seen them that big in my life. I'm like, what the heck is that? Huge pine cones. Well, I picked them all up and brought them home, but I had like 4 big black garbage bags full of these beautiful pine cones. And I thought, gosh, those would be cool for, we know the guy at the flower shop down here. And I thought, you know, if you don't like them, well then throw them out. But he loved them. I brought those pine cones up, and I took them down there, all 4 bags. And I took one in and I said, would you be interested in any of these? And he's like, oh my gosh, how much do you want for those? I said, I don't want nothing for them. I just want you to make some pretties with them. You know, so he gave me this big, beautiful bouquet, probably a $50 bouquet of flowers for giving him those pine cones. And I'm like, I didn't expect nothing from them. I just brought them to you. I seen them and I thought, my gosh, they'd make something nice. Well, he does. He decorates them up for Christmas. So anyway, I got this big, beautiful bouquet of flowers from him. I'll never forget it. But that's what I hope I can find some more if we go down there of those pine cones. They're just beautiful. I love them things. Love them. And we're going to go up to Marquette, which we've been up there many, many, many times. Up north, up in the UP. It's beautiful up there. The only thing I hate is going across the bridge. It's a suspended bridge, the Mackinac Bridge, and it's like, you just feel like you're moving sideways on it. It's really weird. I remember the one year I walked across the bridge during, was it Labor Day? The bridge walk? I did the bridge walk. It's a 5-mile bridge, and I thought I was going to get seasick before I got off that bridge. Never did I ever do it again, and never would I ever. I did it once, and that was enough. That was horrible. But, yeah, it's a suspended bridge, and it moves. And I don't like going across that, especially with the semi. That's kind of scary, you know. And in the wintertime, that's even worse. So, but we've gone up there many times, and that's all right. We'll do it again. I'll get in that truck and drive. I'm not afraid of it. I remember when we first started out driving, I've driven like almost 3 years before my husband, 2 years before my husband drove. In fact, that's where we met, was in Indianapolis. That's funny. It's all them years ago. Brings a smile to my face. I lost my bearings when I met my husband. They all fell out of my head. I thought, oh, he was just the most wonderful thing. And I still haven't gathered my bearings, but I'm still very much in love with my husband. But anyway, we met in Indy, and he used to be just petrified. I would drive anywhere, right? He was petrified of going through toll booths because they seem so small when you're in this great big semi, and he hated bridges. And that didn't bother me anyway. I'd go through that toll booth, you know, it never bothered me any. My problem, I could back the semi, but to do an angled dock back, that was hard. Or a blind side back, which you're not supposed to do. But sometimes you have no choice. I hated it. I hate it, but I could get in that semi and I could back it straight down the road for miles. It didn't matter. I could back out of a road anywhere, but I just hated backing up into the docks. I think it's because when you back, you're looking out this side of the semi, and you know you're backing in the dock, but there's other people, trucks on this side. I'm always scared that I'm gonna hit them. You know, I'm gonna be too far, not jackknifed, but too far turned. I don't know. You drivers would know what I'm talking about. I don't like doing that. So I'd always tell my husband, I'll do the paperwork, I'll do all kinds of stuff, you do this back. And his job was also checking all the fluids. I said, no. You're in the truck, I do the paperwork, I can talk to the people. I'm the secretary, then you're the mechanic. You have to do all the fluids. We did make a good team. And we were in that truck. Oh my gosh, we drove together like 12 years. And we were in that truck 24/7. We'd come home maybe 2 days a week. And it's like, oh, I just got to get away from you for a while, you know. But we would spend 24/7 in that truck together driving. And we never fought. We were like best friends. It was like, we still laugh and reminisce about the times we were in that truck together. It was fun. We did have fun, and we saw so much. You know, we didn't get to see the Grand Canyon or, you know, Yellowstone or anything like that because there's some places you can't get a truck into. You know, even the bobtail was hard. So there's a few things that we didn't get to see, but for the most part, we've seen everything. Good, bad, and ugly, you know. Indifferent, whatever. We've seen everything. So that's going to be fun. And it's a little bit of income. It'll help pay our bills, so that's even a plus. And we'll be able to do it every year. I hope that you guys enjoyed my videos on the 1-jar meals. Those are fantastic. And I opened one up the other day and I thickened it up. It was the beef stroganoff, and oh my goodness, was it good. And yes, I will do videos on it showing you, showing you how to use them. I do got videos that I'm going to do for budget friendly, and I mean like shoestring budget friendly meals, so that, I can help. I've had a few people request them that are feeding, some hungry teenagers and on a budget. So I'm going to try and do 1 or 2 of those meals each week for the budget friendly, shoestring budget meals. I'm telling you, I grew up with that. When my kids were little, I made meals out of stuff you didn't think you could make meals out of. But my kids never, ever, ever went hungry. And when I learned to can, it was a whole new world. Greatest thing I ever learned to do. My grandma taught me a lot, and then I was, I wasn't a big canner until I had kids. Then I had hurt my back at work because I worked in a nursing home years and years and years ago, and I was laid up. I couldn't hardly walk across the room. It was horrible. And my friend that lived above me, she was an avid canner, and so was her family. Not only were they avid canners, they grew all their own food, all their own vegetables and stuff. Well, she worked with me, and she really taught me about everything I knew about everything that she knew about canning at the time. And God bless her heart. I'm telling you, she really got me going. And from then on, there was no stopping me. I canned everything. And my kids were not picky. My kids would eat anything I put in front of them. I was so blessed. But that's how I was raised. But my kids would eat anything. So I canned anything and everything. They'd eat anything. They were like garbage disposals, And my son, I think he ate more than some countries. That boy could pack away the food. And he was so skinny, he always looked like he had rickets. you know, but he could eat more than 3 boys put together. So I canned a lot of food. There was a time when I was canning no less than about 1,500 jars of food every year. I grew a garden. I canned everything. We had a pig farm. We had chickens. You know, we had it all. And always had fresh pork. Every year my freezer was just full of pork. Didn't have a whole lot of beef because I couldn't afford to go buy beef, but I could have a pig butchered for my freezer. So I think those meals that, recipes that I got will help others. I think that will help anybody who, is really on a shoestring budget. And also my one cookbook, Homestead Pantry, it's just loaded with budget friendly meals, and especially now in this day when, things are pricier than what they were 2 years ago, it is going to help. I can't tell you, well, this meal only costs 34 cents a serving, because now it's probably, $1 a serving with the prices of everything. But, we can still stretch that dollar the best we know how. And I will help you with that. Definitely. So today I have to go down to the recycling place where they offered us the job and turn in our applications and all our information and find out some more details on it. So, but we're definitely going to do it, and we're excited. And I'm also going to do, I usually just do 1 video a day, and then I edit it for the next day or 2 days later. Sometimes I'm a couple days ahead on my videos. But my grandkids, I get to have Gus and Cece for the next 3 days, and Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, so I'm excited. So I don't want to do any videos. I haven't seen them. Well, my daughter had COVID a couple weeks ago, and I haven't seen none of those kids since, except Stella, and I miss them terrible. So I'm going to take every bit of time I've got and spend with them grandbabies. So today I'm going to do 2 videos. I'm going to do the first one on bread, an easy bread that you can put together. It's just very simple. Salt, yeast, flour, and water, and that's it. It's like an artisan bread. So easy to put together. Any beginners could do it. But I'm going to show you that recipe. That always is a nice crusty bread, and it goes beautiful with soups and stews, or, like a hot sandwich, because nothing worse than a hot sandwich, like a hot turkey sandwich, and the bread gets soggy. Ugh, I don't like that. So that's why I'm making this bread. But I'm also going to do a nice tater tot bake for a budget meal. And that's what we're going to have today. That's what the 2 videos that I'm going to do today. And then I'll be set for the week on my videos. And then I can spend my time with my grandbabies. I'm so excited for them to come. And little Gussie did fine through COVID. He was sick, but not as sick as my daughter was. Now it hit her hard. She called me up and she was just about crying, and she says, "My God, Mom," she says, "even my toes hurt." She hurt from head to toe. Literally. So anyway, I don't think there's much else to tell you other than I've been busy outside. Pantry stocked. Oh, my root cellar. We haven't got down there yet to do the shelves. It's just in total chaos down there because I've got stuff in bins and totes, and I need to get stuff put on the shelf. Most of the stuff that's down there is some that is overflow from my pantry up here, but most of it is my freeze-dried goods. And I got the little gem up here. Oh yeah, we're going to do some more freeze drying videos. I'm also going to do recipes to freeze dry meals. And I think that'll be nice to share with you guys. And you know what's nice about these videos that I'm going to do for the freeze drying videos, when I put together recipes and freeze dry them, not only, it's not just for freeze drying, you can also do this recipe and freeze it, you know, in your freezer. I'm just going to go one step farther and freeze dry mine. So that's going to be fun. So any of these videos or any of the recipes that I'm going to do for the freeze dryer, you'll be able to use and put in your freezer. So anyway, I've got a big day ahead of me, and I just wanted to have a little chit chat and let you know what's going on. Things are doing good. We're getting a little homestead here buttoned up for winter. We're all set with a lot of stuff. We've got a little bit of job security for the winter time. Thank you for your prayers for that as well. I know many of you have been praying that, you know, we have an easy winter. Well, you know, a normal winter. And we don't have such a hard time financially. And it looks as though we're going to be okay. So it's a plus, and I thank you. And most important of all, friends, thank you for supporting my channel. Thank you for being a part of my community. And if you have any ideas or suggestions on videos that you'd like to see or recipes that you want, anything like that, just shoot me an email or put it in the comments and I'll be sure to do that. Somebody had asked me for a recipe for pumpkin pie filling, or pumpkin pie spice and apple pie spice. So Stella and I did that for you. If there's anything else, anything that you want to see, any recipe that you're interested in, just let me know. I'm also going to start doing some extra recipes from my cookbook. And I am slowly but surely working on my third cookbook. I have not got it done yet. I still got a lot to put in. I think it's going to be a hefty one. I think really I need to cut that book in half and put some of that stuff in a fourth cookbook, because I don't want that. The more I add to it, the more expensive it's going to be, and I don't want that. So I might have to go through and divide it up amongst two books, which I can do. So that way it's continues to stay affordable. Now, I know my Homestead Pantry cookbook, the price for my printing went up, but I kept the price of the book the same. I absorbed that extra, you know, that I think it went up $2 for the printing. Yeah, it went up $2 more for the printing. So I absorbed that extra cost because I don't want it to get too expensive. You know, I want people to be able to afford it. So I absorbed that. Not a problem. Anyway, you all have a wonderful day. I got to get going because we got a lot to do. And I will see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.